Spellcaster University is a charming if a bit clunky Hogwarts sim tower. In this game you build up a university with the goal of getting students to graduate with different professions, based on how much they learned. The better professions provide permanent bonuses that last throughout an entire campaign. This is important because every 45 minutes or so your university gets destroyed and you have to rebuild on a different map. Initially rebuilding is hard, but it gets easier as you get more higher tier graduates. After going through 6 universities you end up on a final map that has some reasonably hard objectives to complete before your university gets destroyed again, and you need to have a lot of high-tier graduates to be able to do those. The mechanics are enjoyable, and the game is a great calm, casual experience. The campaign could use a lot of adjustment. It can feel a bit arbitrary and the only real direction is either provided through trial and error or community-written walkthroughs. There isn't particularly a feeling of progressing difficulty or even a real link between the areas as you progress. Challenge cards are a cool way to provide goals, but they feel like a side piece rather than a main progressing thread. Some functionality, depth seems underwhelming on its impact on the game. A lot of it is that the time limit on campaign levels by default means that you rarely get to see your vision for a tower through, and the kinds of adjustments you get from some features aren't needed for the specific in-area goals, more for min-maxing or seeing your personal vision for the tower through. The idea I found the most exciting when buying the game was creating houses and dividing your students between them. But again, when creating a house, there is a randomly chosen selection of traits you can assign to the house, and you can only pick 2. I experimented around, and the only way to actually use the houses was to create one house for the smart students, that help them learning the higher tiers of skills, and one house for the students that are either not smart or have strong negative traits, to help them achieve at least something. That is not exciting. After you randomly placed your rooms, teachers and objects, there are barely any ways to actually manage anything. With rising prestige, you can fiddle around with your acceptance criteria and application cost for new students, but since the randomization is so high, it's hard to gauge the effects. Another frustrating case. Your rooms get dirty over time, lowering their efficiency. In one school, I tried placing one janitor room and upgrading it multiple times. In the next school, I tried placing multiple basic janitor rooms, hoping that more janitors would keep the school cleaner than one highly qualified janitor. Not only did I barely see a difference, both methods also didn't counteract sinking room efficiency in a meaningful way. One additional small issue I've noticed: if you have janitors, and your students have produced art on the walls, there's a shocking percentage of how little your janitor actually notices the graffiti on the walls before going into the next room. I've had graffiti on the wall that sat there for a good solid while as multiple janitors go in and out of the room before it's actually taken care of by someone, something. Despite my issues with it, I find myself returning to the campaign again and again, and the core gameplay loop is straightforward enough that I don't have trouble settling back in if I want to put the game down for a week and come back to my partially complete campaign after. All in all, it's a unique, fun game. It doesn't require a huge amount of interaction or micromanagement. You basically just place classrooms and approve new students. I can see how that's not going to be everyone's favorite game, but I like games that I can play while I do something else on my other monitor, and this is perfect for that.